Welcome back, episode 189, and wow, we had some exciting weekend of action in the NFL. Parity seems to be at an all-time high, and we had a really exciting Monday night game and a blowout. College football, wow, Colorado. I mean, wow. BYU also. Sorry, that was for Kansas State. That actually wasn't for BYU. Excuse me, Kansas State had to hold in and throw up. BYU, amazing win for them. Maybe they're a little bit better than we thought. Lots to talk about today. Not a lot of time to get into it. So without any further ado, today's going to be simple. We're recapping the weekend. Just all my takeaways from the things I saw this weekend as we prep and move forward to another weekend of football action. Because, yeah, I'll admit, it was a really fun weekend. We'll start with NFL. And I guess we could start with NFL Week 3, Thursday Night Football, Jets-Patriots. Absolute stomping. If you're like me and you started Ramondre Stevenson, you probably lost the week. I'll admit, he wasn't the sole reason I lost the week, but man, if I replace him with somebody else and I don't get -2 from the Raiders defense, man, we got a chance. We'll talk about the Raiders in a minute. But yeah, like I said, this was 24-3. Biggest takeaway from the Jets-Patriots game, I mean, this was for me, it was more of a finally. This is the Patriots team I thought I've seen all season. Genuinely shocked when I've just been generally shocked with how well they have been doing overall. So it's just the fact that they had 2 really good weeks. It's like, okay, when are they going to come back to the team that I think that they are? And sure enough, they did this week. Kind of went back to a pumpkin a little bit. Run game wasn't there, which makes me, and the pass game, they didn't pass deep again, which makes me think that Jacoby Brissett's probably really close to getting benched for Drake May, which isn't the craziest thing. I think we all expect that to happen this year, but I don't know. It feels a little bit early, but I mean, overall, Jets had a really good game. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen both carrying the rock. Going to be interesting. Obviously, Breece Hall's the guy, but with how good Braylon Allen has been, I will not see him shocked to get more carries. Aaron Rodgers has the first, I think. He almost did. Never mind. I was going to say his first 300-yard passing game in forever, but he finished with 281. I mean, he looked really good. Seeing him be that good is kind of like, okay, so they might be fine here in the near future. It's now just going to be a question of moving forward. Can the Jets just continue to get better off this win? Their defense looks so much better in this matchup. This takes us to Sunday, 1 o'clock. We can start with Bears-Colts, get this kind of out of the way. Bears fans. I'm just kidding. Colts did not look the best offensively. Defensively, so much more improved. They looked really, really good. Caleb Williams, he actually didn't look too bad either, honestly. He had some moments. Almost threw 6 or 7 interceptions that game, but a few of them were dropped, a few were caught. Overall, Caleb Williams got hope. If they could actually protect for him, that'd be huge. If you saw the photo of the Bears' offensive line on that pitch play. That pitch play, for those of you who weren't watching the game, 4th and 1 at the goal line. Maybe probably not 4th and 1, but 4th and 1, 4th and 2, whatever. It's 4th and goal at the goal line. That's pretty much to win the game. Or not, Jesus, it's not to win the game, but really big touchdown they needed. I can't remember how early on it was, but a huge goal line stop there. But yeah, overall, this is a really low-scoring game. Jonathan Taylor gets a touchdown with 8:26 in the second quarter. Past that, I mean, there was basically no scoring in this game in the first half, second half then. It goes field goal Bears, touchdown Colts with Trey Sermon. That Anthony Richardson pushed him in. That was pretty awesome to see. Then the Bears answer back. Caleb Williams, the first rookie with a touchdown pass, throws it to Rome Odunze. Jonathan Taylor answer back another touchdown. Cole Kmet gets a touchdown, and then, yeah, Bears just end up losing it. Biggest takeaways, Colts might be okay. Defensively, they at least showed some signs from their DB, so it's like, okay, so there is something there. We just gotta wait and see it more. Just gotta see more of it. Don't expect it to get amazingly better this season, though. I feel like to wait to see more of it's more of next year, finally, the defense might be, like, pretty good at DB. But overall, I mean, DB's played well. Defensive line, I thought, played pretty good. They held the rushing game down. I mean, Roshan Johnson actually was the best rusher, 8 for 30 yards. But we passed that, DeAndre Swift, averaging 1.5 a carry. 13 for 20 yards. Not going to get it done. Not going to say that payment wasn't the best, but, ooh, that contract is looking kind of rough right now. He's not running the best for them. Obviously, with how bad their offensive line has been, though, I can't blame him too much. But, with being said, I mean, still really good. Really good win for the Colts. They avoid going 0-3, unlike a team that we're going to talk about for Monday Night Football. That's like, wow, they're 0-3. But avoiding 0-3, that's huge. Now they're going into a game against Pittsburgh. A little bit nervous about that, because especially with Anthony Richardson, I mean, he's had moments. Biggest thing to take away from the Colts is Anthony Richardson has moments, but then he has other moments that literally is just like, oh my God, what are you doing? And then he has the deep ball to Alex Pierce. It's like, oh, he's really good. Runs a few guys over. I mean, it's just the definition of growing pains. It sucks sometimes. Other times it's amazing. You just gotta live with it. I think Anthony Richardson has a chance to be really good, though, especially with how the NFL is shaping out right now with QB play not being the best. This isn't a shot at him, by the way, but with QB play not being the best, I mean, this gives him a real chance to be like, hey, you can take advantage out here and become one of these guys. As for Caleb Williams, he'll be better. He just needs an offensive line. Built through some rookie mistakes. But yeah, the biggest thing is just the fact that they have no offensive line and no run game really as of right now. Really hard to help out your quarterback. It's the second the Colts got a run game. Anthony Richardson only finished 10 for 20 with 167, but the second the Colts had a run game, Anthony Richardson, all of a sudden, the passes were looking a little bit better and all that. It's truly amazing what a run game can do for you. Bucks lose 26-7 to the Broncos. Really good game for Bo Nix. Bo Nix finally had his first game where it's like, okay, now we see some. 25-36, 216, no touchdowns, no interceptions. I believe he had a rushing touchdown, though, which he did. He had a rushing touchdown. Jaleel McLaughlin had a touchdown. Overall, it's just the defensive effort by the Broncos is truly impressive. Their defense they might have a legit defense. Offensively, it's just one of those games with the Bucs where I think you look at it, it's like, yep. I don't think, even looking back to last year, they had games like this last year, and this is a somewhat still very similar team where there'll just be games like, oh yeah, they have a chance to win that, and then they just don't really show up, and they kind of do this, where Baker's 25 for 33, one touchdown, one interception, but only has 163 yards passing. You go, oh, okay, they shouldn't have lost that game, but them losing it, like, it's one of those things where it's like they shouldn't have lost that game, but it's not crazy that they lost the game. It's just, this now is one of those things where it's like, oh, okay. Makes me wonder. Shout out to my boy Ron who reminded me of this, that Sean Payton just absolutely owns the Buccaneers. So it makes you wonder if it's a little bit of that. I don't know. It's just, Bronx, I really don't know how to evaluate this game because of that. I'm just happy because as a person who had the Broncos over, it's like, okay, good. So this team has a chance to win. Their defense is really, really good. As for the Bucs, it's just like, they got bottled up. They weren't really doing anything on the ground with Rashad White. Bucky Irvin had a little bit of stuff going in the run game. I just really don't know I just don't know if I should give the Broncos more credit for winning this, take away some credit for the Bucs for losing it, or if it's just like one of those games where it's like, all right, the Broncos got to win now. They needed to win desperately, and now they're 1-2. Bucs 2-0. Probably didn't need it as bad. Now we reevaluate going to the next week. I still think this is going to be a good team. Still think they're going to fight for the division, but man, the Falcons keep getting better and better, man. Vikings 34. Excuse me. Let me put some respect on their names. Texans 7. Wow. They had C.J. Stroud completely confused out there, absolutely locked up. No run game to be had with no Joe Mixon, really. Game makers really didn't do much. And how about Sam Darnold, man? We'll talk about the Saints here in a minute. Derek Carr kind of pumpkined, so it's like, okay, not to talk, I'm not going to shit on him, but that was something where it's like, okay, that was more of what I expected. That makes a little bit more sense now. And I was staring at Sam Darnold like, okay. Because every week it's like, all right, if he beats the Texans, that's the real test. I believe in him. And now it's like, well, they play the Packers next week. If he doesn't in Packers, maybe. And then it's like, well, he plays the Jets, maybe against the Jets. And after that's the Lions. It's like, It's like, man, we're going to be week 7 by the time they play the Lions. And I'm still going to be wondering, like, man, do I believe in Sam Darnold or not? This is the one thing that I'm just really shocked about. The Vikings seem like the team where it's like, man, everything went wrong. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. They basically lost everybody, dude. Lost their third-round pick. Lost he died. Absolutely insane. J.J. McCarthy went down to injury. You just look at some of the things that happened to them. It's like, oh, there's no way this is going to be a good team. And then sure enough, all of a sudden, they find a way, and now they're 3-0. Sam Darnold's playing absolutely out of his mind. I believe he's moved up now in the MVP race, which is, I'm telling you, this is feels like we're in the twilight zone with some of these guys are having these careers just revived out of nowhere with good coaches. Goes to show too is like, hey, good coaching, pretty good quarterback can get you really, really, really far. Shit, look at the Packers. I would say LaFleur's a pretty good coach. Look what he's doing with Malik Willis. Absolutely insane. But yeah, Sam Darnold, 181, 4 touchdown passes. Sheesh. Aaron Jones, 19 on the ground, 102. 19 carries, 102 yards. Sheesh. The biggest takeaway is like, all right, for me as a Colts fan, it's like, all right, cool. So CJ Stroud can have these games, and you can get to him and mess with him a little bit. That was I think my biggest takeaway from this. TJ Shaw looked pretty bad. And it's like, okay, so you can't force him to be bad if you're able to find some stuff. But looking at it from the Vikings perspective, it's like, man, okay, this team might actually be legit. I have between this team and the Saints to not make the playoffs. As of right now, I think the Saints are plus 120. As of yesterday when I looked, I 100% think I'm going to take the Saints plus 120 not to make the playoffs. I think this Viking team actually could end up stealing a playoff spot because truly, the NFC looks a little bit shaky right now. We'll talk about it with more of these NFC teams, but the 49ers don't look the best. I mean, the Saints, they just had a bad loss. We'll get into it. Chargers, Steelers. Herbert got hurt. They tried to play him in this game. He played for a decent amount, played all right, and then he got hurt and went out. I mean, this is just a pound the rock game. I wish I didn't get the stats up, but I wish I could have saw how many carries were between these two teams. Just quickly doing it, we got 18, 19, we got 20 for them. 30. We're talking like 50, 55 carries between these two teams. Talking about old-fashioned football. Biggest thing to take away, Steelers, congrats to them, 3-0. Justin Fields, I'm sure it's going to be announced this week that he's going to be the starter from here on forward. I just don't understand how you switch from him, especially after going 3-0. I know they gave it to Russ to start out the season, but they both kind of were free agents there. And Russell Wilson's kind of the cheaper option at the 2 right now, especially. And while Justin Fields could potentially be the guy of the future. But man, playing against... I'm going to be scared, man. This defense looks legit. TJ Watt looks possessed this year. If I could vote TJ Watt Defensive Player of the Year, I 100% will. I can't remember what we said his odds were for that. I don't even know if we could bet that. I think it was 2 weeks ago I brought this up with TJ Watt. Somewhere around there. I got to double check. I truly do not remember. But I think there's a good chance I'm going to take him for a Defensive Player of the Year. It's not even up. That's the issue, I believe. That sucks. Oh, I'm stupid. Season awards. There it is. Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt, plus 240. It's plus him, plus 240. Aiden Hutchinson, plus 320. And the Micah Parsons, plus 1,000. Sheesh. Jared Verse, Latu, Defensive Rookie of the Year, still looking decent. Comeback Player of the Year. You got Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, Joe Burrow, Jamar Hamlin, J.K. Dobbins. I mean, that list is crazy. Anyway, we're going to get a little bit off track here, but regardless, I mean, the Steelers defense looks really, really good. As a Colts fan next week, going to be scary. But, man, I tell you what, when they're starting to put some stuff together on offense now, I mean, this Steelers team might be... obviously I'm not going to go the far as say they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, but... Man, if they're able to mix some stuff together like they can, this truly could be a team that... They might steal a game or two in the playoffs, and all of a sudden you're looking at them like, wait, the Steelers might have made it to the Steelers are in the divisional... The Steelers are in the AFC Championship game? I mean, if their defense truly keeps it up and keeps playing like this, the ceiling is a roof, in the great words of Michael Jordan. Moving on, Philadelphia Eagles... 15, Saints 12. This was an ugly-ass game. Sirianni, not the best showing for him coaching-wise. He had a few dunces. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to blame a guy for going aggressive and going for it on 4th down, especially like on Monday after the game, or not even Monday, Tuesday after the game when I've had time to engulf it, I guess. English. I swear to you, sometimes English, man, it's hard. But no, when I actually had time to let it sit, watch it, all that stuff, I mean, it's... I'm not going to sit here and judge him, but man... the fact that he had a chance to tie it at halftime, and there's it's 3-0 until the 4th quarter, and then Devontae Smith gets hurt. Player or two later, Saquon rushes for 65 yards for a touchdown. Saints field goal, Saints get a touchdown, and then Saquon Barkley, after a massive Dallas Goedert run where basically two guys run into each other, Dallas Goedert runs for 60-some yards, and then Saquon Barkley finishes off for the touchdown. I mean, this was a ugly game. Saints offense wasn't able to do anything. You could tell without A.J. Brown, this offense for the Eagles is lacking explosive plays. That part was, I didn't expect it to be that bad, but holy hell, man, is it. But man, I bet they're glad they have Saquon Barkley, because, I mean, they lost Landon Dickerson to a concussion, I believe, as well. Devontae Smith for sure concussion, Landon Dickerson, maybe, I can't remember. I know he for sure was hurt, can't remember if it's a concussion or not, but, man, not the best game for Jalen Hurts, but, I mean... You look at 29 for 38, 311. Stat-wise, it was a really, really good game, but overall, I'm not like I said, I'm not going to judge too much because they won the game, and it really doesn't matter too much. Their defense helped them out a lot, but it just offensively felt like there should have been more out there. Because he has 29 for 38, 311, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, no rushing touchdowns. It's just like, doesn't feel right. It feels like he's missing a touchdown or two there. Like I said, if they were lacking the explosive plays, I think that's the biggest thing I noticed. With them having a bye in week 5, it's going to be interesting to see if they have A.J. Brown come back. I would assume Devontae Smith for sure is not coming back. Landon Dickerson, I would assume not, but you know how offensive linemen are. So he could play through it. We'll just have to see. But overall, ugly game. I feel like the Saints came back down to earth a little bit, and so did Derek Carr. It's going to be interesting to watch them moving forward, though, because now they play the Falcons, Chiefs, Bucks, Broncos, Chargers. That's going to be a tough 5-game stretch until they play the Panthers again, which is a division game, which, hey, with the red rifle now. But, I mean, truly, overall, shout to the Eagles. That was a massive win. Way to bounce back after a horrible loss in week 2, because they almost did it again. I mean, they let the Falcons go down the field. Saints go right down the field as well and score touchdowns. Like, man, Eagles did it again, huh? But they had that big play with Dallas Goedert that went for like 60 yards where he almost ran to the end zone. Hit speeds of like 21 miles per hour as a tight end. But yeah, both these teams are 2-1. I expect the Eagles to probably go 9-8, 10-7. Saints are probably going to be more of they're either going to be 10-7 or 7-10 or 10-7. And I lean towards 7-10. I mean, truly, if we watch the stretch now if they lost the Eagles, my boy Rowan even said this as well, and he's a diehard Saints fan. I wouldn't be shocked. We'll say they beat the Falcons. They lose to the Falcons now, but they'll beat them at home on week 10. So they lose on the road in Atlanta week 4. That could be an L. Chiefs could be an L. There's 2. We'll say they beat the Bucks. There's a win. We'll say they beat the Broncos. There's a win. Lose to the Chargers. There's 3. I mean, all of a sudden you go from 2-1 to you're like 4-4, 4-5. And it's a completely. I mean, they went from a chance of being 3-0 to 4-5. I mean, that's a completely different. This world's a bit different. I mean, this season gets a little bit easier as the schedule goes on towards the end, but this gauntlet's going to be tough for them. Every win they can get these next few games for the Saints are going to be huge because especially in their division, every game's matter because it feels like it's going to come down to the wire in that one. And as for the Eagles, I mean, they get Bucks, like I said, and they get a bye, and then it's Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jags. So it's going to be interesting. A little slate going for them as well going forward, but shout out to them for getting the big win there. Packers, Titans, we don't need to talk about this game too much. I mean, like I said, LaFleur is a great coach. Sorry, I didn't realize my glasses were that bad still. I thought I fixed it. LaFleur seems like a great coach. Malik Willis defeats his former team. They win 30-14. Not horrible for Will Levis, but if he gets no protection, I mean, he's just way too loose with the ball. I mean, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm pretty sure he had a fumble or 2 as well. For sure, 1, can't tell if it's 2 or not, but I'll tell you what, this Packers team is going to be a good team. When they get Jordan Love back, which I'm assuming they're going to do it next week for the Vikings, that's going to be a very interesting watch, see how healthy he is coming back. As for the Titans, man, I don't want to say they're going to bench Malik Willis, but he is not. He's not Callahan's guy, so Callahan can move on from him. I don't know who they'd move on from him for, though. I don't think that. I mean, they have Mason Rudolph. Man, especially rebuilding. If they put in Mason Rudolph, that's probably a good indication. He was like, all right, they're probably going to draft a quarterback if it gets too bad. Because it's to the point now where it's like, man, I picked the Panthers, Giants, and Patriots to all be the worst teams in the league record-wise and all that. And holy hell, the Titans beat them all. I mean, all those teams got to win before the Titans. And the Bengals, but we'll get to that in a minute. Truly a great win by the Packers. I mean, I'm truly impressed by LaFleur. Honestly, really impressed by him. Great win by him and the Packers, honestly, over the Titans, who just now looks like they're in a bit of a rebuild. Their defense did not look nearly as good as it has, but I mean, I can't fault the defense when the offense is playing as bad as it has. 24-3, Seahawks over Dolphins. Biggest takeaway, Skylar Thompson's not very good. Tim Boyle's not as good as well. Great win for the Seahawks, though. Every win's a great win. Got to give them credit for that. But yeah, the Dolphins, as long as they start Tim Boyle or Skylar Thompson, it's going to be tough for the Dolphins. Moving ahead, Giants beat the Browns 21-15, even though the Browns got them the fumble, I think, on the kickoff. And then first play of it's either the kickoff or it was like the first play the Giants had. They get a fumble, and then immediately the Cleveland scores a touchdown with Amari Cooper, who I believe had 2 touchdowns on the day potentially. He did. Shout out. Hey, good remembering. But yeah, the biggest takeaway, Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors, man. What a connection. 8 receptions, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns from Malik Neighbors. Amari Cooper, 7 receptions, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns as well. Sean Watson, not nearly having enough time. He's been sacked, I think, 18 times the last 2 or 3 games. Either 16 or 18. Daniel Jones looked a little bit better. and he has in the past. But I mean, this is just a poopy game in general. I'm just pissed that the Browns let the Giants win this game. As a guy who took the Giants by 6.5, and they covered immediately after the first play of the game, and then they basically don't do a single thing till the fourth quarter. It's like, come on, man. The worst part, too, is the Browns hung around just enough for me to give hope. Like, you know what? Maybe they can turn this around, but, man, they are offensively just broken right now. As long as they start Deshaun Watson, I know it's fully not his fault, but he's not helping at all. As long as they start Deshaun Watson, I don't expect a lot from this team, which really sucks. So they have a lot of talent, and it just feels like the Browns used to always have a lot of talent but couldn't figure out the quarterback, or they would have good guys just couldn't figure out the quarterback, and now they're talented pretty much everywhere else and they can't figure out the quarterback. I mean, the most Cleveland Brown things ever. As for the Giants, still don't expect much from them this season, but like I said, great win for them. Now heading into Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys. Has a lot of people nervous, especially with how bad the Cowboys played. Speaking of 28-25 victory, it was not this close at all. It was 28-6 pretty much until the Cowboys scored 19, and as I said, put lipstick on a pig, make it look a little bit better. My biggest takeaway is, all right, the Cowboys, they're going to struggle defensively right now. They need to find their identity defensively. Right now, they just seem lost. Offensively, I'm not too worried. I'm sure they'll figure out some kinks with how they just need to get. It seems like a lot of the guys who missed camp are taking a little bit of time to get back in. So, like CeeDee Lamb, I'm assuming once they get him going, get a few injuries fixed, they'll be okay. But, man, why did the Ravens keep blowing these games, dude? Almost blew it last week. Or no, did blow it last week. Almost blew it this week. It's starting to get to the point like, boys, what are we doing? How are we almost blowing these games? Because, I mean, truly, they just let the Cowboys score 3 unanswered touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And they even got an onside kick. I mean, Lamar, 12 for 15, 182, 1 touchdown. Not bad at all. Dak, 28 for 51, 379, and 2. Talk about stat patent a little bit. But they were behind, so he had to throw it. Overall, I mean, Derrick Henry, 25 for 151 and 2 touchdowns. He ran all over the Cowboys. And until the Cowboys can stop the run, I mean, they're going to get ran on team after team after team after team. I don't think the Giants will be able to do it, but obviously teams who can run the ball, I mean, they're going to be able to run it on them until they get this fixed. I mean, sheesh, you're looking at after the Giants, they got the Steelers, the Lions, bye, 49ers, Falcons, Eagles. I mean, that is what? 5 teams that run the football pretty well, if not great, in a row, including a bye. I mean, yeah, they're really gonna have to figure this out. Or this could get scary. I still think Dallas is gonna be a good team. They've lost to 2 losses are to, I would say, 2 pretty solid teams. I mean, the Ravens, nothing to be sad about. The Saints, I take that back. Saints one kind of sucks a little bit. They just got absolutely embarrassed. But like I said, they couldn't stop the run, so. Yeah, they really need to stop the run. And for the Ravens, man, they need to secure these leads, and they need to figure out what is wrong with Justin Tucker. Something I've heard about is them maybe putting Justin Tucker on IR for 4 weeks, just letting him get right mentally, and then bringing him back. Maybe not a bad idea, but man, what is going on with Justin Tucker, boy? Raiders. Panthers just absolutely blow out the Raiders. It's 36-7 pretty much. Or it was like 30-something to 7, 33-7 before the Raiders scored any points. I mean, I'm yawning. I just got bored trying to remember this game. Andy Dalton, only quarterback this year so far to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He finishes 319-3. Gets a revenge game now against the Bengals upcoming. Shout out to him for that. You know, we love revenge games around here, and any other reason to bet on guys. So that's going to be something to keep an eye out for tomorrow. But biggest takeaway is the Raiders. Holy hell, am I just going to stay away from them? I am genuinely sorry I gave them out as a bet. Really sucks, too, as my Panthers under. Had Panthers under 6.5 wins. Sucks because, like, I don't think it's going to be in jeopardy. But now, all of a sudden, it's like, well, if they keep Andy Dalton in, I might have to keep an eye on that team because that could get a little bit scary. But overall, I mean, excuse me. Man, I truly, if that doesn't tell you how boring this game, I mean, I'm literally falling asleep just talking about the Raiders-Panthers. I mean, yeah, they just got beat down to the ground. They're going to have the come in Jesus moments, the Raiders are. They're going to have to figure some stuff out. As for the Panthers, I mean, I still don't think either of these teams are going to do too much this year, but man, it's a complete reevaluation now for both these teams. As for the Raiders, it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, when you guys go behind, you're completely screwed. And then, as for the Panthers, it's like, okay, now it's nice to know that you do have some competent quarterback play. We can see stuff out of, like, Deontay Johnson, who had a great game. Chuba Hubbard. We're going to see stuff, hopefully, out of, like, Jonathan Brooks when he comes back. Now I'm just curious to see if Bryce Young plays again this season. We'll have to see, but, man, shout out to Andy Dalton. Huge win for him and the Panthers. But as for us, Man, I'm pissed at the Raiders for that. That was stupid. Anyway, moving on. Rams come back to win against the 49ers. This was actually really awesome. The 49ers were in control it was 14-7 for the longest time. I mean, the longest time. And then finally, Jaron Johnson has an insane day, by the way. I'm pretty sure he put up like 46 on fantasy. Went absolutely stupid. But, yeah, the Rams just honestly, the biggest thing was they just lingered around. The 49ers weren't able to put them away. At any time it felt like the 49ers were just about to get there. It's like 3 and out. Pendle didn't back them up. I actually don't think Brock Purdy had any turnovers. It was just the second the Rams got the fake punt, that's pretty much rallied them to come back. It was about after halftime they got the fake punt, and then they end up outscoring them 20-10. In the second half, that leads to 27-24 win. I mean, I just can't believe how the Rams won this game. It's just another evaluation. Yep, Sean McVay is a great, great coach. Man, that's my takeaway. Is Sean McVay is a great coach, and I need to quit. I need to just be like, hey, it just sucks. I gave out the Rams last week. They get rolled, and then this week I don't bet against them, but they win in like a situation they shouldn't have. It's like, come on, boys, what we do? Overall, though, man, I'm just truly impressed with the Rams. It's truly impressive they were able to win that game. And as for the 49ers, between the injuries and other stuff, man, it's starting to get concerning. And Christian McCaffrey, we'll talk about this when we go over some NFL news before college football, but Christian McCaffrey going to Germany, too. That is very, very concerning. Lions win 20-13 over the Cardinals. 3-points were scored the whole second half. This was pretty much a first-half game. Awesome hook and ladder between Amon-Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs, which led to a touchdown. But past that, I mean, they just pretty much Lions shut down the Cardinals' running game. The Lions ran the ball really effectively, and that was pretty much the story of the game. Defense, there's just not a lot of back and forth early on. I mean, you get a touchdown from David Montgomery, and then you get an answer by Marvin Harrison. Touchdown by Amon-Ra, who you could tell that Jared Goff stared him down and wanted to get him that touchdown bad. Because Jahmyr Gibbs, if you literally watch the film, Jahmyr Gibbs is wide open in front of him, nobody around him, and instead Jared Goff just staring down Amon-Ra, throws in a bullet. But, I mean, it's a touchdown, doesn't matter, and I'm happy because as the person who gave out Gibbs and Monty score, both of them score anyway, so it's like, hey, win-win, because at the time, though, we were stressing a little bit, being like, man, is this shit really not going to hit? But ends up doing, we're all good. But, wow. Cardinals, this was a really good game. I had the Cardinals in my teaser that ended up losing because of the... Actually, I think I lost because of the Bengals, too, so actually I'm not that mad. Lost by 2 legs. Never mind. But the Cardinals +9. Like that number. But, man, shout out to the Lions. They cover and win. I guess Dan Campbell, after losses, covering and winning is an absurd record at this point. Like, I think it's like 10-2, 8-0, something like that. So I need to remember what it is. I'll try to bring the stat within the coming weeks, but that's something to definitely keep an eye on now is after the Lions lose. Dan Campbell is covering some spreads, people. That moves us in the Sunday night, the Falcons versus the Chiefs, the WWE game of the day. Refs were on the Falcons in the first half, then they had the Chiefs money line second half. A few questionable calls the whole game on both sides, but Drake London scores first, answered by Rashee Rice. And then Bijan gets his first touchdown of the year. And then it's Bucker, field goal, Bucker, field goal, Bucker, field goal. Juju Smith-Schuster touchdown. Then Younghoe Koo field goal later. I mean, this was just a weird game. It's very eerily similar to how the Bengals game went for the Chiefs, where Chiefs are down at half, but for whatever reason are still favored. The Chiefs are down at half and favored. You look at the other side. This week I didn't bet the Falcons. I actually stayed on the Chiefs and doubled down on the Chiefs. But like last week, I saw the Bengals were down or up at half and plus money at home. I'm like, you know what? Actually, I can't remember. I think the Chiefs were actually at home. Let me take that back. But I was like, you know what? I think the Bengals could actually get this done. Let me bet Bengals. They end up losing. This time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay on the Chiefs this time. Took a little bit extra on the Chiefs, and sure enough, the Chiefs do what they do in the second half, and they just find ways to win. Running game wasn't the most effective without... It wasn't horrible. Carson Steele didn't do a bad job, but he wasn't doing anything Pacheco did. So it's going to be curious to see how that running game works now. If it's going to be like a 3-man backfield between Kareem Hunt, Carson Steele, and Samaje Perine, and maybe even become a 4-man when Clyde Edwards-Helaire comes back, or what goes on with that. But past that, I mean, if they're able to find a rushing game, I mean, man, receiver-wise, Rashee Rice is a stud. Past Rashee Rice, I mean, they're going to have to find some dudes. Because, I mean, Travis Kelce had 30 yards, Xavier Worthy had 17, Juju had 17. I mean, it's Rashee Rice, 12 for 110, then you got Kelce for 4 for 30, and then it's 2 for 17 for Juju, 2 for 17 Worthy, 3 for 15 for P. Ryan. I mean, they're just honestly they're missing a wide receiver too. Like, man, just imagine Mahomes with the A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert combo. If Xavier Worthy could step into that wide receiver 2 role, that'd be huge. But obviously, as a rookie, it might take him some time. But once the Chiefs get a wide receiver 2, I mean, this team's going to be scary. The defense balled out, absolutely shut down the Falcons the second half, only held them to 3 points. And that's what it's coming down to now. It's like this Chiefs defense is becoming really, really good. I mean, the 4th and 1 shot, they talked about Chanel is a really strong dude and everything, and he just basically stood up that edge. It was absolutely insane. This Chiefs defense is special, and, man, it's only September. Chiefs should be potentially 0-3, and they're 3-0, so it's like, uh-oh. They might actually three-peat. Unless they're getting all their luck out early now, this might actually become a three-peat. Moving on to the Monday Night Football games. This one we don't talk about at all. 47-10 blowout. Only reason I want Bills went massive. This was one of the best betting nights I've had in my life last night. If not the best, I believe. Potentially might be the best. I have to do some math, but man, we were live betting like an MFer. Let's just say that. James Cook scored. That was really awesome. Then Dalton Kincaid scored, but man, we were able to live bet. We were able to get. I was able to live bet both of the. Sorry, I was trying to remember their names, but Ty Johnson and Ray Davis, both of the Bills' backup running backs, had them to score. Had a few guys score in the Bengals game as well, but betting wise, man, I'm talking. We flipped I'm pretty sure I flipped like $100. If I did the math right, flipped $100 into about $1,700. So it's like wow. The only people who had a better night than me were the Bills. Bills absolutely destroyed like I said, it was 47-10, late touchdown for the Jaguars, helped it late, but man, Trevor Lawrence has won a game now, and I think his last 9 starts he's lost. He's lost his last, I believe it's 8 starts now. It's starting to become an issue. I know it's not fully on him that last game. So apparently they aren't going to just bench him yet, but there has to be changes, whether it's play design, personnel, everything. Peterson, everything's on the table, let's call it. Those are all things I have to look at. We have to look at the staff. It sounds like everything but quarterback is what they're going to move on, which I'm not too shocked. I don't think that you can bench Lawrence, especially when you give him that money, but man, he's not looking the best right now. I know it's a whole season thing, and I'm not trying to be a Jaguars hater because I am a Colts fan. But I'm not shocked. I thought the Jaguars were going to struggle out the gate, but man, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I'll admit, I thought they were going to be pretty bad. You heard me say it. But man, for Trevor Lawrence to be this bad as well, we're talking 14-30 to start the season. 12 for 21, 162 and 1. 14-30, 222, 0. And then yesterday, 21 for 38, 178, 1 and 1. I mean, it's just he's not getting it done, man. The Jags are not getting it done as well. They're a really weird team. Brian Thomas, shout out to him. He helped us hit our first Nasty Boy of the year. Nasty Boy, we'll finish talking about it here in a minute, but he was the biggest part of it, I think, in this game. Shout out Josh Allen for the rushing yards as well. We had that as well in the Nasty Boy. It was a great win by the Bills. Man, they look legit. The Bills, they lose Stephon Diggs. Their defense has some injuries, but they look legit. I'm going to be excited to watch this Bills team this year because, they play the Ravens next week too. That's going to be a fun game. That is going to be a fun-ass game. I can't wait to see the matchup because I right now the Bills are dogs, and man, I tell you what, man. Last Monday night game of the week, Bengals lose 38-33 to the Commanders. First game with no punts or turnovers since 1940. First game ever where 2 Heismans from the same school play each other. I think it's even Heisman of back-to-back years play each other, something like that. But, man, Jamar Chase absolutely went off. Jayden Daniels was able to score for us as well in the second quarter. So this is how it went pretty much. So Jamar Chase, boom, right away scores. So it's like, all right, that's one leg down for the Nasty Boy. Second leg for the Nasty Boy, we had Josh Allen rushing yards ahead a little bit later. Second quarter, we got a Jayden Daniels rushing touchdown, which is hilarious. I literally told Rowan. He had Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin catches a big pass, gets tackled down early. He's like, man, why didn't score there? I'm like, he didn't score there because Jayden Daniels is going to get this rushing touchdown, my boy. Play later, Jayden Daniels, read option, rushing touchdown. Pretty hilarious. It was like, oh, I guess it's right, huh? And then later, so all we had to do was wait for Brian Thomas. Jaguars are getting blown out. It perfectly worked out because Mac Jones came in, targeted Brian Thomas. We got that. First Nasty Boy of the year, man. We put $15 on every single one of them. I actually used a boost this time as well on mine, so I was able to get 15 for $291. So, shout out. That covers our Nasty Boy for a good while, and man, This game was fun. This was one of the most fun games we've seen in a while. Skylar Thompson's also might be injured. I forgot to mention that to the Dolphins. We'll talk about that in the news section here in a second. But, man. I mean, shout out to the Commanders. The Commanders look legit. Jayden Daniels looks like a guy. I mean, oh my God, he looks good. If he can stay healthy, man, this Commanders team is going to be a really fun offense to watch no matter what. Bengals being 0-3, though. Wow. Did not have that in my Bengal cards. They lost. I mean, I didn't have them losing really to Commanders. This one, at least, Jayden Daniels played good. Can't be too shocked about that. I didn't mean to look at the Washington team. Excuse me. Man, Chiefs, kind of understand that loss. That loss sucks, though. But, man, to lose to the Patriots, heartbreaker against the Chiefs, now lose to Commanders. They get the Panthers, which they get Panthers, Ravens, Giants. So, I mean, they have a chance that they can be 2-5 potentially. They can be like 3-3, 3-4. I mean, they're 4-3, 3-4. There's a chance for them to turn it around, but man, wow. I'm in disbelief that the Bengals are starting off this bad. Their defense wasn't Joe Burrow's fault last night. I don't think he did everything he could. Defensively, they just couldn't stop a lick. I mean, it felt like every time there's a big play needed, they were able to get done. I mean, listen to these numbers from Daniels. I mean, just my goodness. 21 of 23, 254, 2 touchdowns. He got sacked twice, but 12 rushes, 39 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. He had a long of 55 rush yards. Did he run backwards or something? Maybe with the kneels. I mean, just amazing game by Jayden Daniels. Absolutely amazing. Him and Joe Burrow had a fun matchup. But, man, that's pretty much, I think, going to do it for the NFL portion. Looking at divisions real quick. Actually, you got Bills leading ahead their division 3-0. Jets right behind them 2-1. Steelers ahead in their division 3-0. Browns and Ravens behind them 1-2. You got the Texans leading 2-1. Colts behind them 1-2. Chiefs 3-0. Chargers 2-1 behind them. NFC wise, before we move on to the news, Commanders and Eagles tied for the division. Vikings 3-0. Packers and Lions behind them at 2-1. Saints 2-1 in their division, tied with the Bucks. Then you got the Seahawks 3-0. Rest of the division is 1-2, 3-way tie. Yeah, that feels like that division, NFC West, might be a division that eats itself alive this year. That's going to be a 9-8 division to win the. Sorry, I'm trying to write this down. So for the NFC West, 9-8 could win the division. We're going to keep that in mind because this might be something to look forward to. Because, man, that division is going to be super competitive. The South is going to be. I mean, hell, the North is going to have 3 competitive teams. The East, I'm not fully sure. I'm going to see how that mixes up. But the East, I mean, NFL is going to be fun, man. There's only 1 or 2 teams in each division where you can kind of go, okay, they're out of it. They're probably done. But past that, I mean, all these divisions are up in the air. Obviously, it makes sense because it's early on. But even after the Panthers win, I don't think they're going to win the division. But you got to look at it like, I'm kidding. You don't got to. It's probably going to be the other 3 teams. But, hey, might not be too bad. We're going to go through some NFL news. To start off, wow, this is kind of crazy. Apparently, Brett Favre has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. That just came out. That's just kind of sad. I mean, obviously, it's they're saying it's unclear if it's connected to his football career or head injuries. He said he's experienced probably thousands of concussions in the 2 decades in the NFL, especially with how they did it back then. I would not be shocked, but man, that's kind of, I will admit, even though he did do some dumb stuff, it's kind of sad. Man. Hopefully, all goes well with him with the Parkinson's, because yeah, that is kind of sad. But moving on, that just popped up immediately while I was going through. Thielen is going to be placed on IR with a hamstring injury. I only laughed because he hurt his. It's like, if you watch the fantasy footballers, they make old man jokes about Adam Thielen being old. I mean, he's 34. Obviously, he's not the oldest, but compared to the NFL, they're just kind of old. But I mean, he hurt his hamstring scoring a touchdown. And in fantasy football podcasts, they always make the old man voice joke about talking about him. Literally in my head, as I read Panthers being on IR with a hamstring injury, I just think of that old man voice as he get. I mean, he scored a touchdown, kind of extends for it, and then it's just crazy, man, how he got hurt. That was just, I had to say it, but it is seriously such an old man injury. Hopefully he's going to be okay, especially with the hammy. Hammies suck, man, because that lasts all season potentially, so hopefully he will come back. But yeah, your boy's trying to get Deontay Johnson, and fantasy might be a decent pickup, especially because, I mean, Adam Thielen had a decent amount of targets. Him and Xavier Legette. It seems like Xavier Legette has played 55% of the snaps in 3 games. That's probably going to go up. But, man, shout out to Adam Thielen. Hopefully he's going to be okay. We just talked about the Brett Favre news. We talked about how the Jags don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. Fields remains Steelers starter while QB Russell Wilson rehabs. That was 20 minutes ago. So Tomlin hasn't made it final yet, but but it's still, as of right now, it's Fields' backfield to lose, I'm assuming. Dan Campbell getting his home address leaked. That was crazy. Hopefully that just sucked. I hate when people do shit like that. Happened to him. Will Levis's. It happened to Will Levis as well. It's just crazy. I can't get over how good Jayden Daniels' game was last night. That was absolutely insane. Raiders are going to be sticking with Minshew still over Aiden O'Connell. I don't know how long it's going to last, but at least for right now. We talked about Christian McCaffrey going to Germany. That's kind of a scare because now it's like, man, when is he going to come back? If you draft him in fantasy, man, I feel bad for you guys, man. That is some stressful ass shit. Chargers, Derwin James suspended 1 game for repeated violation of safety rules. This is very similar to what happened with. I'm going to watch a video real quick here while I'm talking about it, but this is similar happened with Kareem Jackson last year. If you remember with him getting and all the head stuff, or like all the head shots, all the dirty hits and all that. This is very, very similar to that situation. McBride is in concussion protocol. Javon Hargrave is out for the season with a torn triceps, which really, really sucks. Harbaugh came out and said that Justin Tucker's issues are a technique issue, so hopefully that's something that can be simply fixed. Unique Ngakoue is re-signing with the Ravens, which is kind of cool. Always love to see stuff like that. Garrett to day-to-day with feet injuries. He has an injury in both feet, which is really weird. Marcus Davenport missing the rest of the year with elbow injury. Davenport is day-to-day. No news really on John Harbaugh. No news on Herbert. Not Harbaugh, my goodness. No news on Herbert and his injury on his ankle. We'll have to see what happens with that. And I think that might do it for NFL news, honestly. That should do it for NFL news. Yeah, so now we're going to talk about some college football and what happened. Moving on, now we're going to basically burn through some college scores. Wow, that Colorado game. We'll talk about that game here in a minute. I'll probably save that game for last, honestly, because that's probably my game of the weekend. Just because, biasly, because I won some money on it late at night, too. But, wow. What a fun game. Meant to give out South Alabama over Appalachian State. Kind of mad I didn't, because South Alabama, man, just rolled Appalachian State 48-14. Really sucks, because I genuinely did think about giving out South Alabama, but gave out too many bets. Really didn't need to. Syracuse, heartbreaking loss to Stanford. Stanford, insane, absolutely insane win. Shout out to them for the huge win. Sorry about that. My dog was barking and wouldn't shut up, so I thought we got mail. No. Real quick funny story for those of you who are new. My dogs bark at everything, so God forbid a guy cleans his golf clubs, and shout out my neighbor, cleaning his golf clubs in his garage. The dogs couldn't let him do that, so they just were bark, 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 bark. So now that's taken care of. Back to what we were doing. Anyway, like I said, huge win for Stanford. Illinois, man, I'm probably going to be betting them this next week against Penn State. 17.5-point dog feels a bit big, but man. 31-24 win over Illinois. Pat Bryant. If I picked him, I would have had another fun parlay this weekend. But wow, 31-24 win over Nebraska. They looked really impressive. Not the best game from Dylan Raiola. He looked a little bit like a freshman, but I think Nebraska still stands a chance to do decent. But that was a little bit of a game where it's like, oh, okay, so we can still have freshman moments. And Nebraska, too many penalties. San Jose State, they covered the 13. They lose 52-54 in double OT to Washington State in what was a fun 54-52. Damn near a low-scoring basketball game. A lot of fun there. Notre Dame wins 28-3. They didn't cover. I bet them live, thank God, at -9.5 before they absolutely just blew Miami of Ohio off the floor. But, yeah, 27.5-point favorites win 20-23. Successful win. They looked horrible to start offense at the beginning, though, at least stat-wise, so we'll have to see what's going on with them. Purdue loses to Oregon State bad. Let's see. Indiana covers again. Man, I'm telling you what, that Indiana team's kind of a wagon, eh? Army absolutely blows out Rice. Tulane beats Louisiana. The Raging Cajuns. North Carolina State absolutely blown out by Clemson, 59-35. Scores a lot closer than it was. Shocker of the weekend, too. James Madison hangs 70. 70 James Madison football team, 70 on North Carolina. Wow, that was just ugly. 45-28 win for Florida. Ohio State rolls as per usual. Cincinnati, big win for them. West Virginia, big win against Kansas even after the delay. I thought they might get screwed after that delay again. Central Michigan, big win against Ball State. They... a little bit of Maxon, baby. I was trying to think. I'm like, wait, they are MAC school. Both of them are MAC schools, right? That's why I was sitting there for so long. I'm like, wait, those are both MAC schools, right? Iowa State, big one for them. Moving on. I'm not going to say every school. Michigan, USC. Fun game back and forth. Man, my boy Jayden had plus 550 on the USC money line. That Khalil Mullins touchdown that he broke like 15 tackles on to get him down the goal line. Heartbreaking for, I'm sure, a lot of you fans. That was, wow. That was heartbreaking, honestly. Pretty sad. Great win for Michigan, though. Amazing win for Michigan. They kind of got their identity back with the run game, especially having Alec Orji in the run game. Only threw for like 32 yards the whole game, but 7 for 12 for 32 yards. So, not a masterclass by any means, but hey, not bad at all. Kent State loses 56-0. But I believe I saw a stat. They averaged 22 seconds on the play clock, or they averaged 22 seconds of play per play they ran, or per yard they got. So you want to talk about getting the check games? I'm not going to call them out for that, but shout out my boy who I heard the stat from. Yeah, because apparently they did this against Tennessee too, but not as bad. But literally against Penn State, I guess they had the ball for about 20 minutes or so, and they averaged. So they had the ball for 24 minutes, and I think they had 67 total yards. So I forget what the math was on that exactly. I just said, but yeah, it was really, really interesting to say the least on how that game went. But Penn State got an easy one now, heading into being 17.5-point favorites against Illinois. Very excited for that game. I think that's going to be a good game. UCLA gets beat by LSU pretty bad. Northern Illinois, man. Buffalo, 13.5-point dogs. Get the job done. Georgia Tech loses a heartbreaker to Louisville. They literally lose the cover on a blocked field goal to end the game. With 10:54, they go for a 50-yard field goal, gets blocked and returned. Wow, horrible way to lose a cover, but hey, if that's what it took for me to have the weekend I did, we'll take it. Virginia Tech 23-26 heartbreaking loss to Rutgers. Utah wins 22-19 over Oklahoma State. It was 22-3 until there were 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then a little lipstick on that pig right there made it look a little bit more pretty. Missouri, double overtime win against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt looks legit. Missouri, really slow start to the season. Same with Oklahoma State, except unlike Oklahoma State, Missouri's 4-0, but it's kind of like, man, will y'all wake up earlier in games, please? As for Oklahoma State, they haven't seen the woke up yet. Very concerning. TCU, 66-42 loss. That game was absolutely insane score-wise. Florida State, 14-9, ugly-ass win. South Florida, they lost their quarterback, but if he stays in the game, South Florida might be a legit team. They lost 50-15, but this was a lot closer game for a long while, and then a little bit later, they sadly faded when their quarterback got hurt, but not bad. Toledo, heartbreaking loss to Western Kentucky. I am blaming this one on the delay. There was a delay. Toledo was up and covering. Delay for like 30-45 minutes, and they ended up losing, so I'm for sure blaming it on that. Washington, 24-5 win against Northwestern. Welcome to Big Ten football. Tennessee, they win 25-15 against Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold gets benched. Now there's rumors that now there's rumors that they might start the other kid. I don't know how true that is, but there's rumors that they might let Jackson Arnold walk when they get to transfer portal to keep this other kid towards the end of the season. I mean, that's the point we're talking about with Oklahoma after that loss. Not a good play on offense if that's the case. Bowling Green loses 20-26 Texas A&M. Bowling Green, man, keep an eye on them for the MAC. They have lost to Penn State. They have lost Texas A&M back-to-back weeks, but they arguably could have won both those games. I did not watch the Texas A&M one as closely, so I'm not going to say that for sure, but they definitely could have won that Penn State game. They got a guy at quarterback, so I am going to keep an eye on that Bowling Green team. Ole Miss wins 52-13, Texas 51-3. Boston College wins 23-19, the red bandana game in an absolute monsoon. It was awesome game for an awesome cause. Which, I mean, that was a really fun game, too. That's the best part. It was a really fun game. They ended up coming back to win there. Kansas State gets absolutely waxed by BYU. Another situation where first year quarterback, first big time road start in a big time ruckus crowd. I'm gonna say Bob for him and his standards, obviously. It honestly was a tough place because they lost 38-9. I didn't really watch that game. I kind of just went to bed when it started getting out of hand. And then game of the weekend, Baylor, Colorado. Baylor, my God. Their coach might be fired, especially after the way that the game ended. Absolutely insane fun ending for Colorado. They basically get the ball around midfield. First play, Shadur rolls a little bit right, throws it up. Who's number 14? I believe that's who it was. Could be wrong, so I apologize if I got this part wrong, but I believe it was not Travis Hunter. It's not Maury Miller. It's not LaJohntay Webster. Will Shepard. I believe it was Will Shepard. Could be wrong, but somebody goes up for the hand. The biggest thing, we've talked about this on this show now for years. This versus this. Legit, if the receiver goes like this, ball hits him right in the hands, he probably walks into the end zone. We don't get the final play we got. Instead, goes like this, ball hits him in the chest. Pouring down rain, by the way. So as it hits him in the chest, he does the good old that, isn't able to clasp it. Looks like Colorado's going to lose because they basically got 4 to 7 seconds left. So the play goes, Shador rolls out, throws it up, basically gets crushed. And LaJohntay Webster catches it. We go to overtime. They're able to score in overtime, Colorado is, because they got the ball first. And then, man, goal line stand, Travis Hunter hits, I forget who the running back for Baylor was, but hit Baylor's running back. I believe it was Sawyer Robinson. Hits him, he fumbles out the back of the end zone. Colorado wins. Fans storm the field before they even announce it. Like, pretty much, they said, we're going to review the play. Fans are storming the field. You watch the review, though, it's like, oh, that's not getting overturned. They're trying to get fans off the sideline. And then it's after further review, the ruling on the field stands, Colorado wins. Refs leave. Place goes erupt. Insane win for Colorado because truly looking ahead at their schedule, this was big win for them. I know Baylor isn't the best, but man, now they're going to the UCF game. Probably not going to win. Kansas State game, going to be tough. But I'll admit, Arizona, I might give them a chance now. Cincinnati, I don't know. Texas Tech, they can probably keep up the score. Utah, I don't think so. But I mean, there's truly a chance now where they get they have Cincinnati, Baylor, they have 3 wins now. They probably lose to UCF, lose to Kansas State. Maybe Arizona, there's 4. Beat Texas Tech, there's 5. I mean, there's a chance that we're looking at Kansas, Oklahoma State, Cincinnati. If they're able to win those games, we might have a bowling situation for Colorado. Moving ahead, though, before we end it today, we'll talk top 25. Just to go over it. Texas, number 1. Actually, there's not much change. There's no change at 1, 2, 3, or 4. Tennessee now moves to number 5. Ole Miss to number 6, which is okay based on just opponents who they played. Miami goes to 7. Oregon 8. Penn State 9. Utah 10. Missouri 11. Makes sense based on how slow of a start they had. Michigan 12. USC 13. LSU 14. Louisville, Notre Dame at 16. Clemson, Iowa State, Illinois, Oklahoma State rounds out the top 20. And then it's Oklahoma, BYU, Kansas State, Texas A&M, Boise State at 25. Man, that's going to do it for today, though, I think. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for the support. Really do appreciate it. Let's go over, man. Really, really excited. It feels like we're finally going to hit that point where it's like, all right, we're about to be hitting our... I mean, we got Alabama, Georgia this weekend already. I mean, wow. Going to be a fun weekend. Amazing week of sports. I'll see everyone back on Wednesday to go over my picks for Pickem Thursday. Bets I'll be giving out, all that. I will be looking to hopefully go to 3 episodes a week here soon. Like I said, I want to start it for football season. Then I'll admit, the other place I'm working at right now, along with the sports company we're working on building up, I moved to mornings instead of nights. So that changed my schedule completely around. So I'm still trying to figure out, it's like, all right, do I want to do a Saturday episode, Friday episode, do a Sunday morning episode? So I haven't figured out what day I want to do the 3rd episode yet, but hopefully be on the lookout because it feels like, man, I go an hour in both these. It's like, man, I feel like I can go longer with some stuff, so I might be trying to look to break it up. But like I said, man, lots to talk about today. It was a lot of fun. Can't wait to go over the bets tomorrow. Look ahead to week 4 of college, week 4 of NFL, week 5 of college. And just, man, we're already starting to hit that stride. We're about to be a month into the season. We're about to be to that point here where we're going to have episodes like first month of the season reactions, stuff like that. Trying to find, all right, who's winning the Natty and who's winning the Super Bowl. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support. I will see everyone back in this feed tomorrow for some Pick'em Thursday action because, wow, it's already that time, man.